Greetings, everyone. It is Isaac Wells, the voice of Internet's Skeletor. You're watching Dragonfire Entertainment. And remember, listening to a podcast before bedtime is the adult version of story time. Until we meet again.
What's your poison? Let's drink it tonight. In the glow of the stars, everything feels right. Raise your glasses, let the good vibes pour. Together we'll sing, who could ask for more?
How's it going, everybody? Wildman Wes here, and welcome to another edition of What's Your Poison? We hope you enjoyed our Shocktoberfest rendition of What's Your Poison with the horror movie-themed beers. And now moving into November, still being the fall, the chill is in the air, everything seems to be moving into place with the holidays, and that also means some fall-inspired beers. As you can see, I've got three right here, and we're going to go down the line one by one, and we're going to see what we think about them. Okay? Let's get started. Starting up our fall lineup today from Peachtree Brewing Company by way of Back Pocket Brewing in Coralville, Iowa, we have the Red Rambler Red Ale. This is 5.8% in ABV, and the description says, this red ale is one of Peachtree Brewing Company's most popular beers given its deep red color and malty flavor. The malt character is balanced with 3 varieties of hops. It's a versatile beer that can be enjoyed alone or paired with a broad spectrum of foods. Truer words were never spoken, because I have had this in the past, and I remember it being very, very tasty, very hearty, and also very malty. On the hops, I can't remember if I noticed any hops, but at the same time, it's nice to have a little revisit, right, folks? Looking at this already, we get this nice amber color, this red. It's very, very pretty. And not just that, almost transparent. There is a little cloudiness to it. That could be the hops in there. I can get a small biscuit aroma already. And now that we're going to do this little drive-by, I'm definitely getting more of a bitter malt on this one. I'm also getting a little bit of a sweetness. So we're going to do a little 3-snip. Not really getting much off that, but let's take a sip. Malty, biscuity, slight sweetness, quasi-dryness. I like this because even at 5.8%, it's not too light, but it's not too heavy. It's middle of the road. Now, when I say middle of the road, in the past when I have used that phrase, it's not necessarily a good thing. In this situation, because of the ABV and the flavor profile, middle of the road means more of if you're wanting to have something during the fall that's not too light, but not too heavy, that's going to make you sluggish later on if you have a couple, this would be a great starter beer for the day. When it comes to the flavor, I'm enjoying this a lot. Definitely one of those fire pit or campfire beers. I dig this. And as I mentioned before, I've had it, and I'm glad that I still had a can because I needed to review it. When it comes to the grade on this, we're going to take another drink, and then we're going to figure out that grade. Smooth. Very smooth. And it's also making my mouth water, and we've talked about this before, folks. If my mouth starts watering after I've had a sip of beer, that usually means I need to have another sip, because it is very tasty. 5 out of 5. Not going to lie. This is perfectly balanced, especially for a fall beer, and also being more on the darker side. Well, we're going to move on to our next beer, where we're going to have probably a little bit of the similar experience. Not sure. We'll be right back. Up next from Lakefront Brewing in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, we have Bumble Honey Brown Ale. Much like our first beer of the day, this is also 5.8% in ABV, and it says it's rich and flavorful with a sweet finish. This liquid features Wisconsin honey. Now, who doesn't love a little honey in their life? I love my honey. I love my honey on my toast. I love my honey on my Popeyes biscuits. That kind of gets that dryness away, doesn't it, folks? I digress. Anyways, I am very excited because I do love a beer that has honey in it, whether it is a honey wheat, a honey lager, and in this case, a brown ale with honey. Brown ales definitely have that maltiness to it, and if you're adding a little honey in there, I'm kind of thinking this might be a little bit of a cereal type beer, kind of like Honey Nut Cheerios. We're going to have a little sniff and we're going to see if that's true. Getting a slight honey, not too much. That could be a good thing because if the smell overpowers it, who knows, but I'm getting that malt and I'm getting very light. Even at 5.8%, it's smelling light and it looks light too. I mean, if you look as I tilt this glass, it feels very thin. But I'm stalling. I need to have a sip of this. Let's just have it, all right? Okay. I am getting the honey. It's dry, not always a bad thing, especially if your mouth is watering. My mouth is not watering. It is, wouldn't say a palate wrecker or a palate destroyer. However, it is definitely a little heartier than what I was expecting. This kind of goes back to the first beer that we had, and I mentioned that it had that perfect balance of flavor and body, and this one, the body seems light, but man, as you take a couple sips, it's going to get pretty heavy. I'm going to have another one before I give it the final grade. I do appreciate what Lakefront Brewing provides to the consumers and all of us beer drinkers. However, this one, I would say it's a one and done for me. I'm not saying it in a horrible way, it's just I got really excited, especially because of the honey, and in this situation, slightly disappointed. But it is still an okay beer. I would say, as before, when I mentioned middle of the road, this is definitely a middle of the road beer. 3 out of 5 pounds. This one, I could definitely have, I wouldn't say a starter beer. I would say middle of the night beer if I need to sip on something before I decide to go back to anything that I really want to try. This is an endurance beer. Let's put it that way. An endurance beer. A beer that you sip to make sure that you don't get too crazy before you get too crazy. I'm rambling, much like the red ale that I had earlier. Man, I swear, the more and more my kid gets older, the badder my dad jokes get. So I'm going to refrain from that for now because we've got one more beer in store for us today. I gotta finish this up. Hang on a sec. Closing out our fall lineup from Bent River Brewing in my neck of the woods of Rock Island, Illinois, the good old Quad Cities, we have S'mores Imperial Milk Stout. This is 8.2%. And it says it is a stout brewed with lactose and other natural flavors. Now, when I think of s'mores, you got 3 ingredients. You got the graham crackers, you got the chocolate, and you got the marshmallows. When I think about s'mores beers, it's one of those things that it's very near and dear to my heart. It is a dessert beer, as far as I'm concerned. When it comes to lactose, my guess is that's where that marshmallow flavor is going to come from. With the stouts are usually dark and chocolatey. And hang on a sec. Well, no, I can't cheat. I can't cheat. I dripped a little, so we're just gonna pour, because I don't want to get a taste yet before I sip. It's kind of like the chocolate that melts off of the s'mores onto your hands, and you gotta lick it later. And we're just gonna hold off to that. That's just gonna be a little afterthought. Looking at this, very dark, wow! That body looks light for 8.2% for a stout. And with a milk stout, I could see why it might be a little light. The head consistency, after pouring it, wow! It still has about a 1/4 inch. Yeah, 1/4 inch right there. That looks nice. Oh, dark chocolatey on that 3 sniff. Let's check the drive-by. There's almost like a raisin smell to this. This almost This almost smells like a bourbon barrel, even though it's not. Here we go. This, my friends, 5 out of 5, and it's not even because of the fact that I live in the Quad City area and that Bennett River is just across the frickin' bridge. No. This got the dark, sweet chocolate. It is sweet, but there is that bitterness to it. The graham cracker, it's got that maltiness and that, oh, it's so good. You need to get yourself a can, because this is definitely the nightcap for you when you're hanging out with your friends around a campfire or that fire pit or whatnot during the fall. Or if you're just sitting out burning some leaves like a pyromaniac, hey, get yourself some of the S'mores Imperial Milk Stout. This is something that you will enjoy for years to come. We hope you enjoyed our fall lineup on What's Your Poison. If you've had these beers before and you agree with me, leave a thumbs up. And if not, I understand. There is a comment section below. Let me know if there's something about any of these 3 beers that you've had that you really didn't like. I'd like to know this stuff because I've been doing this for a little while, and sometimes there are certain beers that I like more than others, and then there are some beers that other people like that I may not like. And it's just nice to know, to get that community going and just talking about the things that we don't want to take for granted, if that makes sense. I'm rambling, I know. Other than that, make sure you share on social media, but most importantly, you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for instant notifications. Also, make sure you check out my boy Hefe at Beer You, Beer Me, as well as Beard Wizard Man for all of their beer-related content. I'm looking forward to December coming up soon because I am going to plan on doing that 24 Beers of Christmas. Unfortunately, Lodi Tap House in Elburn, Illinois is not doing the Advent Beer Calendar this year. However, I have been in talks with a couple other places around the Midwest that are doing Advent Beer Calendars, and I want to make sure that I get one in my house before December 1st so I can start filming some of those episodes and get an idea of 12 holiday movies to review for the second half of that series. Until then, I'm Wildman Wes, and we'll see you next time on What's Your Poison or some of the other stuff that we have here on Dragonfire Entertainment. After all, you definitely are a bunch of troopers after Shocktoberfest. Take care, and as always, cheers.
What's your poison? Let's drink it tonight. In the glow of the stars, everything